Hey guys, and welcome to the full course on product design and development, your ultimate guide to understanding the process of turning innovative ideas into successful products. This is a certified course, so make sure to fill out the form in the description after completing the session to claim your certificate. You can proudly share your achievement on LinkedIn to showcase your new skills. At Skill-Lync, we're dedicated to offering industry-relevant advanced courses designed by experts to equip you with practical skills for a thriving career. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful tutorials and updates on engineering and design techniques. Hit the subscribe button and stay tuned. Here's a brief overview of what we will cover in this training video. In the first chapter, we will explore the success metrics of product development, focusing on the three key factors that define success: quality, cost, and time. You will learn how to balance these metrics to ensure that your product meets customer expectations, stays within budget, and is developed within the desired timeline. In the second chapter, we will discuss the phases of product development, walking you through the journey from concept to market. Starting with planning and idea generation, you will understand how concepts evolve into detailed designs, prototypes, and eventually market-ready products. Each step is crucial for ensuring the product's functionality and customer satisfaction. In the third chapter, we will identify the stakeholders of product development and their roles, from marketing teams capturing customer needs to design engineers, manufacturing experts, and quality assurance teams. We will explain how collaboration drives success in every stage of product development. In the fourth chapter, we will delve into the processes of product development, introducing you to structured methodologies like mind mapping and sequencing ideas. You will also learn about popular development models such as the V model and how they are tailored to meet specific product and market demands. In the fifth and final chapter, we will bring it all together with a case study on automotive development, showcasing the complexities involved in designing a modern automobile. You will gain insight into managing challenges like regulatory compliance, balancing cost with quality, and aligning multiple teams across various stages of development. Thank you for joining us. We are excited to have you on this learning journey. Make sure to subscribe for more updates and in-depth tutorials. Complete the training, earn your certificate, and share your accomplishment on LinkedIn. Let's get started with product design and development and bring your innovative ideas to life.
In this session, I'll give you a brief introduction about how a product is being designed and developed. I'm not going to talk any complex topic today. It will be very, very basic, but the generic terms which are used in industries will be discussed in this next 45 minutes. Without any further delay, let me move to the introduction or the takeaway from today. So what will you basically take away from this session? Of course, you will know what is product development and how the success of product development is being measured, and the different stages of product development and who are all the participants or the stakeholders of the product development, and how the different products are developed in different processes, what drives each product development process. And finally, a case study on automotive development, which talks about the complexity of how the automotive development is and what are all the various stages of automotive development and the challenges involved in it. To give a brief introduction about myself, I'm working in the automotive development for the past 13 years, currently doing the new program management of the passenger cars globally. With this introduction, let's start this session. First of all, what is a product? I wanted everyone to interact, but unfortunately, we don't have that option today. It's okay. So the product can be anything, starts from a small cotton bud or a food, potato chips, or whatever it may be. Starting from that, a big object like a car, a truck, whatever you say, the things which are produced for the consumption and utilization of the public, we call it as a product usually. And each product, of course, cannot come just like that within seconds. you think about a product, it comes in your hand. No. Each product development process, each product should follow some product development process to attain its final shape and reach the market. Okay. With that introduction, what is product development at first? It's very simple. You see a product in market, any product you take, it can be a chair, it can be a phone, it can be a small, the clip which you use to clip your clothes when you are drying it. Whatever you say, that's a product, and how it comes to the market, someone would have thought about it at first. Some idea would have sparked in his mind, and he made some plan on how to manufacture or how to produce that product. And based on that plan, he conducted some experiment. He tried various ways. He tried to use different raw materials. He tried to use whatever is available to meet his plan. And finally, he tested what he produced. And once he gets the confidence that whatever he produced has complete purpose of solving the customer's requirement, it can be launched into the market. This entire cycle of concept to reality, we call it as the product development. Simple terms. Of course, you cannot say this is a standard definition of product development, because product development itself is a management topic. Any management topic cannot be made as a standard definition. To make it more simple, you can say product development is from concept to reality. The idea, whatever comes to the mind, can be anything. I'm just walking over the road. I'm seeing a pothole. I just wanted to close that pothole, but I'm not able to do it right now. So how can I do it? I can buy a lid and close it. What if I can produce the lid, which I can use it throughout the country to close it? If it is at a reasonable cost, I can sell it to the government. I can sell it to any local vendor who can do that. So this idea, which once sparks in our mind and grows and grows and grows, it finally develops into a concept. This concept will make you think how that final product it should usually look like. For example, let us take a simple example to explain the complete presentation. Maybe I'm trying to make a pencil. It's very, very simple pencil used by kids for their writing. So I just want to know how I want to make this pencil and how I want to sell this pencil. So I want to, at first, I want to know what is required in the market. So there are many pencils, many brand of pencils available in the market. So I want to know how I can sell my pencil. What should be my unique selling point for my pencil, and what is expected by the customer as a basic. So customer should have some basic requirement of a pencil. So all this comes in the concept stage, idea generation stage. So once I gather all this idea, I will develop it into a concept. I just think in my mind, okay, the shape of the pencil should be like this, the color of the pencil should be like this, it should have an eraser at the top or no, the lead thickness should be like this, etc., etc. So this comes into my mind, I document it. This gives a concept for my product. So with this concept, I go and start procuring the required equipments and raw materials to produce this pencil. Of course, I need a machinery which produces the pencil. I need some raw material, I need wood, I need lead. If I don't have anything, any of this, I cannot produce a pencil. So I start thinking of what all is required to produce this pencil, and I start procuring it one by one. Once I procure it, I make a trial and I produce a pencil for myself. Now I have a pencil in my hand. So this pencil, I want to sell in the market. But before selling, I want to test my pencil. So I want to write it. Let's say that's a B pencil or a HB pencil, whatever it may be. The shine of that lead should follow that particular category of the pencil. So if it doesn't meet it, then I cannot sell it. Even now you can see many HB pencils do not give the same darkness when you write on the paper. So whichever writes dark, I say that is a good pencil. Whichever doesn't, I say that's not a good pencil. So I just want to test myself, my pencil, how good it is, and then I want to bring it to the market. Of course, at a reasonable price. Or there are many other factors when I bring it to the market. This entire cycle of thinking and execution, we call it as the product development at first. Then, what really defines the success of the product development? In industrial terms, we say it in just 3 letters, that is Q, C, and T. QCT. This is a common industrial term used to define success of any product. You make a quality, you make the correct cost control, and you make the timely development. So quality, what really means quality? It's not that you use the best in best class products or best in best class raw materials. No, that's not the only quality you mean. You mean the quality of the product itself and the quality of the process you make also. So the same pencil example, I'm using the wood and the lead, which is of good quality, so that once you sharpen the pencil, there is a less possibility that the lead breaks. So this defines one of the quality of the product itself. But when it comes to the product development, how by which process you produce it, that should be a qualified good quality process. If you don't maintain that, maybe for now you don't face any problem, but maybe after a long run, let's say 5 years or 10 years after, you may feel a lot of problem because of not maintaining good quality in your product development phase itself. Talking about the cost, of course, as Indians, we know the value of each and every rupee we spend. So the basic, as a business, you just think from the business point of view. You are a businessman, let's assume. You are going to sell a product, you are going to invest some money in it, and you are expecting some profit from it. You want to plan for it at first. So what you are going to invest 1,000 rupees today, you are going to expect a profit of another 1,000 rupees. So your selling price should be for 2,000 totally. So this is your plan, and what is ultimately you are meeting when you finally bring out the product to the market. And third is time. As you know, now the competition is growing in an exponential way in any market, in any product category you take. The lead time for development is very, very critical. You make a pencil in 1 day or you make a pencil in 2 days. The person who makes the pencil in 1 day will get a profit of that another day fully. If you delay by 1 day, you will lose that profit of selling in the market. So the lead time of development of any product is again very, very important. So this simply is called as QCT. Okay, now let's assume you as a product development engineer, you have been assigned a task to develop a product. Any product you can keep in mind. You can think of yourself. Just a few seconds, you just think of yourself, you decide a product, and you think what comes to your mind at first if you want to develop a product. You take the same example as the pencil also. There are many things which comes across in your mind. Many things. You cannot restrict you. If you keep writing it in a paper, you will come across a lot of things. This we generally call it as mind mapping. So whatever comes to your mind, don't restrict, write it in a paper. You will finally frame some skeleton of this development activity with these ideas, whichever came into your mind. Starting with the customer expectation, what the customer in that particular market is expecting from your product, and what more you can give from your product as a value addition, and how you can sell your product more than your competitors, and what is going to be the cost you are going to invest for this product development, and what is the profit margin you are expecting. And what is the performance you are expecting. For example, the product you want to sell should last for only 5 years or 10 years, or should it have infinite life? And what is the within the performance, you can say how the customer handles it. And during the handling of different types of handling by the customers, the performance requirement may vary. And how you are going to manufacture this, you are going to produce this product, which is the best process and the most relied process you can follow. And who will going to support you? You are going to do it in-house, or you are going to get outsourced from a supplier, whatever it may be. And how you are going to manage all these activities. What is going to be your plan for managing all these activities? And how do you maintain the quality, cost, and control of time control of your product? And in case of a complex product, you can say the assembly is another difficulty. You can produce a single standalone product. For example, pencil. Even pencil has some lead and wood need to be assembled together, but it's just simple as that. But if you take the case of an automobile or an aircraft, there are thousands of lakhs of parts you have to assemble. So how you are going to do it? So etc. etc. I wrote only some of them because of the slide size limitation. But if you start thinking about it, you will get a lot of idea about how to develop a product. So once you gather all these ideas, the best way of doing a product development is going to sequence these ideas. What comes first, what comes second, and what comes till the end. So these ideas are broadly sequenced in a generic term. The terms you are seeing here, planning, concept development, system level design, all these are generic terms used in the industrial concept. You can just modify the name based on your need, but to be broadly classified, the overall process of product development falls in this 6-step process. It all starts with planning. Planning includes the idea generation, the market study, etc., followed by concept development. So this concept development will give you a quick idea about how your product will look like. For example, you can see many real estate companies selling their flats. They build a model flat at first. So that model flat is something like a concept they made, which they want to showcase it to the customers directly. But of course, all the other companies do not focus their concept to the customers. This is a typical example, but that is what we call it as a concept development. So you just build a concept at first. You see how it really looks like and what are all involved to develop this product. Just make sure you plan for all this. Followed by the concept development, you will have the system level design. Okay, now you are fixed with a product. Okay, I'm going to manufacture a pencil. So my pencil looks like this. The thickness of the pencil is like this. The color of the pencil is like this. The lead thickness is like this, etc. The wood I'm going to use is this kind of wood, etc. So that concept is now made. So you want to go into the system level design. So you differentiate your whole product into different individual systems. In the case of pencil, you say the lead is one part, the wood which is covering the lead is another part, and the process of making the color over the wood is maybe that paint is another part. So do you manufacture the paint also, you produce the paint also, or you buy it from somewhere else? So this kind of system level design you make. After you make the system level design, you make the detailed design. So once you make the individual lead and the pencil and the paint, you make the detailed design. You try to assemble it, you make it into a product. Whichever you imagined during your concept phase, you make it into a product. And this product finally has to be tested. You cannot just like that develop a product and then sell it. You have to test it. A simple example, let's say you have a quick cook at home. In case if he is not a professional cook, before serving the food to you, he wants to taste the food. That is to ensure that whatever is expected by you is met by his production. So the same way, you want to test what your product is actually intended to build. And then after the testing is successful, you go on and produce in a mass. And between all these 6 stages, any company, any organization, any product, you will have review process which says go ahead to the next step. If there is any deviation in any of these steps, the next review process will immediately stop you from entering into the next process. It gives you a loop to continue, go back, study, and then come again with the proper requirement. So this is how the 6 steps of product development have been broadly classified. And these are just pictorial representations of what I explained just now. So you plan different verticals. You plan for cost, you plan for production, you plan for the raw materials, you plan for the workforce, etc., etc. You go for review, and then you develop the concept. With this plan, you develop a concept. We also call it as prototype in industrial terms. So this prototype, you make it into system level design, and then you integrate it to make it into the detailed design. And finally, you go for testing and refinement, validate it, and then go for the mass production. Okay, with that in mind, we now have the 6-step process, and there should be someone who should carry each process in their shoulders. Of course, if you take an organization, the people who are involved in product development are starting from the marketing team until the manufacturing team and other sections like the HR, like the admin, the finance, etc. They are also contributing to the product development, but if not in a bigger level, their contribution is also required in all these levels. So if you say who are all involved in product development, there will be marketing engineers or marketing managers, there will be design engineers, design managers, there will be testing engineers and managers, there will be manufacturing engineers and managers, and of course the other entities like HR, finance, etc. All these stakeholders have participation in throughout the product development cycle in all the 6 phases. But who rules what? Who takes the responsibilities on their shoulders in which phase is very important to understand. This is something like a relay race. You have 4 people running with a bar in the hand. So one person has to run for some distance, give it to the other person. He has to run for some distance, give it to the other person. So that's how you complete the relay race. All 4 will not run together. So each of them carry the responsibility at one time. Similar to that, you have the stakeholders of the product development who have their responsibilities in their shoulders in each step prominently. So starting from planning. Planning is mainly the task of the marketing department. Of course, the others are also involved, but to a little extent. The marketing members are the most major contributors during the planning phase. They do the market study. They will try to capture what is required by the customers in a specific market and how much profitability can be expected from certain product and how this can be executed as a whole. So this is done by marketing basically, followed by the marketing plus design plus manufacturing during the concept development time. Of course, design is required during the concept development time, but you may wonder why manufacturing is required during a concept development. Because you can design any part in your imagination, but it has to become reality only through manufacturing. So a basic level of manufacturing input is required before we design the concept to understand whether the product is really feasible to launch in the market. And then the bar is being handed over to the design team completely during the system level design. So they make some detailed system level design plan, and after they get the go ahead, they make the integration of their system. And here comes the testing as an additional role. This testing is not specific to this phase of testing. So this testing will be done basically for the system level design, which was done in this phase. So whatever the detailed design done in this phase will be finally tested in the next phase, which is specific to the testing and refinement phase. So here the testing department will put their full efforts to find out whether the product meets the market requirements, and if it doesn't meet, give feedback to the design team, get some design solutions, get it updated, and do the testing again. And everything should be done within the planned timeline. That is the key for a product development. And finally, going to the mass production phase, again, manufacturing takes the full responsibility of making the part physically with the support of marketing to sell the product in the market. So this is how this relay race works, the product development relay race works. Okay, so whatever we have seen so far is a generic product development process, which gives you a fair idea of how usually a product is being developed, what are all the steps involved, and who are all involved. Now, this product development will not follow the same process. This doesn't have a hard and fast rule. It cannot follow. Basically, if it follows a hard and fast rule, you cannot succeed in the business. So your product development process should be dependent on what product you are going to sell, what is your focus area, and that should drive your product development strategy. So based on the experience of many organizations and based on the study of many doctorates in the universities, there are some 8 different types of products being categorized. Again, this 8 is not the standard. There can be 10, there can be 12. This is just a representation of the broad classification of 8 different products. And the first column shows the different types of products, and second column shows what is the driving factor and what is the next step after understanding the driving factor of each product. And third is just an example of each product type. Starting with the first, the generic product. Generic product is anything you just see in your, wherever you are right now, you just look around what you have. Everything is, I have a cot, I have a pillow, I have my phone, I have my jug, etc. Everything is a generic product. So simple to say everything is a generic product, but the products which we are using since a long time, which doesn't change its shape much, but still it is required by the customers, that we call it as a generic product. For example, I need a glass. I need a glass for drinking tea or water. That is a generic product. Even if you change the shape or not, I will need that glass. So I need a plate to eat. Even if you change the shape of the plate, it doesn't matter, but I still need a plate. So these we can call it as generic products. These are basically driven by the market opportunities, just the market opportunity. So if customer wants it, produce it, that's all. And after you find the market opportunity, you find an appropriate technology to produce it. That's up to you, being a product development engineer. The second type of product is a technology push. This is more specific to the current trend. This product is usually planned based on the booming technology in the market. So you don't have this idea so far. The product development engineer may not have this idea till today. Tomorrow he may see something in the newspaper. He think, okay, this technology is being liked by people. For example, the smartwatch, the physical fitness apps in smartwatch is just a recent requirement by the customers, by the people. all around the world. Nobody thought of it before. Somewhere someone saw this, made this, and now it is being uh, most wanted by many youngsters across the world. So this kind of technology driven products are one of the categories. So here you first want to understand what is the technology expected by the customers. Once you make this clear, you then find the appropriate market and start producing it. So here the driving factor is which technology is your should be your focus. And the third product is the platform product. This is something like a company you're running it for, let's say 10 years or 20 years. You have a product to tell your name. You have some brand image for a certain product. For example, Butterfly. There are some mixer grinders, there are some gas stoves, but still they wanted to sell. They don't want to sell the same aesthetic product which they sold 5 years or 10 years ago. For gas stove, let's say for example, previously they used the stainless steel gas stove, but now you can see glass top. Previously there were only 2 burners. Now you see there are 3 burners, 4 burners. So there is a variation in the product which you are making, but still the product you are making is same. You are still making the gas stove. Butterfly is still making the gas stove, but they are showing some variation in their product. So here the driving factor is basically your established system. So what you are good at, what you are strong at, you make use of that and build a product. And the fourth category of product is the process intensive product. These are very specific to the food industry, food products mainly. Food products you cannot you cannot produce today and sell for the next month. Usually the food products which has no preservatives should be sold best by 2 or 3 days. More than that is not good. So in that case, you have to decide how much should be the shelf life of your product. For example, in recent times, I am seeing some milk packets which are best for 90 days. Of course, it is not possible if they don't add any preservative. It can be possible only by adding preservative. So if you are planning to sell the milk packet for 90 days shelf life, of course, you have to decide what should you add. And that's how you decide the process. So you want to fix the process at first. Okay, my product is going to go with this process. So based on that, I'll characterize the product, something like that. And the fifth category of product is the customized product. This customized product, of course, these are still existing, but you can value add it, you can customize it. I don't know, most of you may know, in USA or many other foreign developed countries, even the truck you are going to buy or the car you are going to buy, some cars or some trucks you can customize yourself. You like that car, but you don't like some of the features of the car. So you tell to the manufacturer, okay, I want your car, but not with that feature, but with this feature. So this kind of customization is again possible, but you have to decide how the market is usually good at buying it. And the sixth category is the high risk products. This is not the take for most of the business people around the world. Only specific people are interested in it who are doing big business. These high risk products are basically the space system products. If you know SpaceX, founded by Elon Musk. So this is one of the products which has most risk because he tried to find a launch vehicle which comes back to the land after it is being disintegrated. But he failed many times. He lost most of the money, but finally he could succeed it, and now he has tied up with NASA. So it has risk, very high risk, but still it has the market potential. So only some of them will try it. And mainly the driving factor of this high risk product is, of course, the technical risk involved in it. So based on that, you decide what the product is. And the seventh category is quick build products. So quick build products are as simple as that. you don't want to invest a lot of time or lot of money in it. Just most of the time you invest your mind in it, you will achieve what you want to achieve. So rapid prototyping actually helps in some of the recent quick build products. And based on this as the driving factor, you characterize the product. So you know what capability of quick build you can do. Based on that, you characterize the product. And finally, the complex systems. Complex systems are always complex. It stands for its name. So it has many components or parts which have to be assembled into a single product. The best example is the automobile and the aircraft. So you cannot just like that make the product. You have a lot of process to follow. You have a lot of things to ensure when you develop it. So this is how the overall products across the globe is classified and their driving factors are being identified. Okay, so now we can see case study of automotive development, which is my core field of work, in the further slides. Okay, at first we need to understand why the automotive development is complex. Everyone says, okay, automobile development is complex. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of efforts, a lot of technical stuff, etc., etc. But why it is complex? To explain that, we have a two-axis graph here. So the x-axis shows the complexity of the user interface. User interface is basically when you sell the product, how the customer is going to use that product and how that is going to affect the image of your product. And there is another possibility how the customer is going to abuse that product. You might produce a product for some purpose, but it will be basically abused. More than its design level, it will be used. So this complexity will be in the x-axis, and the complexity of the product structure itself. Of course, the product structure complexity comes from the number of parts involved in the assembling the final product and what is the processes of making all these parts individually. Everything comes in the product structure complexity. And in this graph, there are 4 boxes you can see, and some of you might have already imagined what these 4 boxes are. The box which is in the left bottom, the less complexity of product structure and less complexity of user interface, we basically say it is simple. The product is simple. The 2 boxes which are diagonally opposite, the one here, this we say this is not simple and not complex. There is some simplicity involved and some complexity involved. So you cannot just like that define this is simple or complex. Same here. But the one which has the high complexity of user interface and high complexity of product structure, you say it is complex, obviously complex. You see some of the examples. Automobile and aircraft obviously comes in the complexity zone. FMCG products like your soap, your shampoo, your potato chips packet you buy somewhere, whatever you say, fast-moving consumer goods are basically simple. Conventional machine tools, like you have a lathe machine, you have some paper rolling machine, whatever it may be, you call it as the user interface wise, it is easy because people know how to operate it and there will be no much technical issues you can face from the usage of this product. But still, the product structure is complex. You cannot manufacture lathe machine with just 5 parts. You have multiple parts and you have to make it with precision. And there are other products like electronic devices. It has a lot of user interface difficulty, but manufacturing wise, not so difficult. So with this quadrant, you can clearly understand that the automotive development is a complex development process. Okay, so a typical product development in an automotive, or you can say the automotive development. I want to develop a passenger car for India for the year 2022. I want to start the planning from now. So how can I start? Which way of planning the product development best suits for me is a V model. The V model is a well-known model used across the globe for all the automotive development. V stands for the validation. You can say this as validation model, or you can. There are many definitions of V, but simply V talks about integrated design and testing. I can explain you in the further slides. Starting with a basic introduction of V model, we have one V coming down, one V going up, and there is a junction between the two pieces of the V. So the V coming down is basically the design phase, V going up is basically the testing phase, and the connection point, we say it as the integration phase. This is the simple definition of a V model. And this V model, of course, starts with the concept and planning and ends with the production and support. What really does the V model has during the design and testing phase? Once the concept is being prepared and the planning has been done, you have to first start making the requirements of the product. So I'm going to sell the passenger car. I'm taking a passenger car in this case. Many requirements. It has to pass some certification test. Only then it can be sold in a particular market. Then it should meet the customer's requirement. For example, I'm selling a car in India, and my target is, let's say, a small hatchback with low cost. So my target will be the family audience mainly. So the family people who are 4 or 5 members in a family will try to find it, buy this car. So what is their basic expectation? The cost should be less, the comfort level should be so and so, the performance level should be so and so. Whatever is there should come in the requirements phase. So this, based on this requirements, I should plan for the design. That is the main intention of this requirements phase. So once the design plan is made, it has to be made into a system design. So my automotive, any passenger car has different systems to be assembled together into a final car. So this system level design should be conducted at first. Of course, it is not so easy to design even a single system. It requires a lot of technical knowledge and skill to design a system level product. So this system design should be done as a second step, and then component design. So each system will have multiple components in it. For example, you have a steering system. The steering system, the only component you see visibly is your steering wheel. But there are many other parts which are controlling your steering system, your steering from the steering wheel until your tires. There will be a steering column, there will be steering gears. So there are many parts involved in it, which have to be detailedly modeled. So that will be the component design. So once you design how your system should look like, then comes the detailed design of your each system. So once you do the detailed design, of course, you do the implementation, you do the integration. Integrate all these components into a single design, single system, and integrate all this system into a single product. That we do here. And then there is another phase in this testing element, starting with the component testing. Of course, component testing is same as what the component is being designed individually, that has to be tested. And integration testing. After integrating each component into a system, single system, it has to be tested. Each system has to be tested individually. And after each system is tested individually, this system will be again integrated into a final passenger car. So that final validation will happen here. If you see simply, you can divide this whole V model into 4 steps. One is product design, and testing. Second is system design and testing. Third is component design and testing. Final is integration. This is how it usually works. So a V model usually has a parallel testing and design and testing conducted together. You need not wait for the design to complete and then go for the testing at the end. You do it hand on hand. How is it possible? Because once you design the component level part, you can do the testing immediately and then proceed for the system design, system integration. So once the system integration is done, then you go for the final validation. So you can integrate the testing within each segment so that your final product will not have much surprises of not meeting the customer requirement. A typical example of the automobile development for each step. At first, the requirements should be captured in terms of drawing or the concept, whatever you develop. You decide what are all the systems you should involve. For example, I'm producing a high-end car for Benz or Audi. Apart from the conventional car requirement, basic steering system, brake system, apart from this, you may need additional safety features. For example, you have a whiplash system, which is not available in the basic cars. And there are many other features which are not available in basic cars, but available only in high-end cars. So those level of system requirements will be captured here. And after that, each system will be designed. So here you can see the suspension system being displayed here. There are many other systems which have to be individually designed. So we have to decide what should be the configuration of each system in this step. Followed that, in this system, what is the components, what are all the components involved and how the detailed design of each component should look like. And once this is done, the same component will be tested or validated to digitally or physically to confirm whether this detailed design is meeting the customer requirement. Once this is confirmed, going to the system level testing in line with the system level design. So once this is also done, integrate all the systems together and go for the final validation. Just imagine if you don't do these two at first. If you design all these and if you don't do these two at first, you are waiting for only the final product design at the end, you may see a lot of surprise and there will be the final result you see will have a lot of complexities to solve. So basically, automobile development is already a complex structure, already a complex product development. You don't want to make it more complex by avoiding these steps at first. So this is the intention of using the V model. There are other models also involved in product development. To be specific, there is another model called waterfall model, but it follows a sequential development, which is good for software development, not for the automobile. Now coming into the different steps of the automobile development, as you see, we have the concept, we have the design and development, that is the V model, and finally the production stage. So we will see these three stages individually from the coming slides. First, about the concept stage. Concept stage for an automobile broadly has three different phases. There may be many minute phases in between, but broadly it has three major phases. One is starting with the market study, which is inevitable for any product to produce and sell. So basically the requirement of the market, the expectations from the market, profitability of the product, the life of the product, everything will be studied in this market study. And this feedback will be provided to the styling engineers. Automobile styling engineers are one of the best creators in the world because they have a lot of creativity to create a lot of concepts with proper logic. It's not just like drawings you make after you make, you say, okay, this looks like this and look like that. They think that in their mind, and based on that, they make the concepts basically. That is one of the reason they are one of the most paid professionals in the world. So the concept, the automobile styling engineers, at first they do sketching. They do different modified versions of the car, considering all the styling factors, features in the external parts, etc. And they do it for all the views. They do the same drawing for the front view, side view, rear view, and they completely show what how the actual car will look like after it is being produced. After sketching, they go for the clay modeling. Clay modeling is one specific, one distinguished process in the product development followed in the automobile industry. So this clay modeling will typically be done to show you how the car looks like. It starts from the miniature clay model to the full size car clay model. And after the clay modeling is done, they will paint the car with the actual paint they are going to give for the final product. And once that is done, you can see that that will doesn't look like a clay model. It looks like a real car basically. So that is how the clay modeling is being done to visualize the feel of the product. So this is what is done in the concept stage. After that, you have the design and validation stage. So why this design and validation stage is basically required? Because this phase, automobiles cannot be sold just like that. You just produce a mug, you sell in the market, that is possible. You produce a pillow, sell in the market, that is possible. But you cannot produce an automobile and sell in the market just like that, because it has many restrictions you have to sell those products, and many considerations you do, because it involves a lot of investment in terms of money and time. So basically, four things you need to consider. That is the reason for planning for the design and validation stage. One is the regulations and the norms followed in a country where you are going to sell the car. Second is the safety features of the car. Third is endurance of the car. Fourth is the comfort and performance of the car. Just giving a glance on each of these elements. First, about the regulations and norms. Most of you might know there are some NCAP regulations, new car assessment program regulations, where the vehicle is tested by a private agency and star rating is being given. Recently, you might have seen some of our Indian vehicles have achieved 4-star, 5-star ratings in safety. Those are all coming from the NCAP ratings, basically. And NCAP is being followed by different countries. You have NCAP in USA, you have in Japan, you have in China, you have in Europe. Everywhere you have NCAP except some countries. And India also planning for Bharat NCAP in future. And similarly, these NCAPs talks mainly about the safety, the crash related safety of the vehicle. But there are some norms which talks about the environment safety also, which mainly the BS6 we are following right now in India. How much carbon dioxide is allowed to be emitted from your vehicle, and how to control that by tuning your engine, by adding some in between parts which traps all your carbon dioxide. So there are many things which are controlled by the government legally, which the automobile manufacturer has to meet before selling his vehicle. If the manufacturer cannot meet these norms, regulations, he cannot sell the automobile. So this is a very basic requirement before you sell. So this is where most of the time is spent during the design and validation. And second is the safety. Of course, some of them are already taken care by the regulations and norms, but some countries do not have extensive regulations, as you may see. A typical example, India do not have as many regulations as USA and Europe. It doesn't mean that the Indian lives are not as expensive as the others' life, not like that. It depends on many political factors also. The cost of the vehicle, the cost of living in India, per capita income of Indians, everything is being considered before these norms are being deployed. So only if the vehicle with the norms available should be tested for during the design and validation. No, even an automobile passenger car is developed for India, the same set of tests which we do for the other markets, the USA market or Euro market, that also should be done for the vehicle which is planned to be launched in India. So even though there is no regulation proposed by the government, still the automobile manufacturers test it because to have safety of customers in mind. So safety, it has to be addressed in many ways. Safety issues comes from the frontal crash or from the side impact or from a rollover, or it can be from fire also. So there are many areas which should be touched upon by safety and should be addressed during the design and development phase. And the third element is the endurance. Of course, any product you buy should have some life. You buy only if the product is durable. You buy a slipper, you will think that that slipper will last for at least 1 year. If it is not lasting for 1 year, you say the quality is not good. So this is how the endurance is being judged subjectively by the customers. But from the automotive manufacturer's point of view, this endurance has to be measured. So how to measure is basically what type of road the vehicle is going to be driven and how many times the vehicle is going to get some abusive loads like this, people traveling over the vehicle, and how many times the vehicle is going to ride in a terrain road, in the muddy road or in the hill station roads, and how the luggages are being going to be mounted in it, and how the dynamics of the vehicle is going to handle the road situation of a particular market. So everything should be considered and it should be measured and it should be defined. So that is how the warranty systems basically come. So if a manufacturer gives the product warranty as 2 years or 4 years, he must have designed it for that endurance limit. So endurance is the third element which the design and validation mainly focuses. And the fourth is the comfort and performance. Of course, this is a luxurious item most of the time, so not a basic requirement, but still the market is now emerging. So the audience, the customer's expectation is now changing slowly from the mindset of basic need to the comfortable need. So you should think about the fuel economy, the power of the engine. You should think about the aerodynamic drag. You should think about the NVH, how the noise is being perceived inside the vehicle. You should think about the ergonomics. So there are many other factors which are involved. So this is one element which should be considered during the design and validation phase. So once you do the design and validation, these four elements will basically cover your need of the design and validation phase. Just to give you an example of the previous V model the details of the previous V model explanation. At first, we designed the automotive. So this comes from the requirements step in the design phase. So you decide how the automobile looks like, what are all the different systems involved. This will be a basic image. And then you design the systems. First, you design the automotive, you conceptualize the automotive, then you conceptualize the system and design it. So you divide the whole car into different systems. You divide it into a structural member called the BAW, powertrain as a different system, brake as different system, steering, your harness. You divide, and many more systems are involved. So you divide the whole car into a different system. And then each system will be divided into different components. So here you see, I have taken the example of a BAW. So BAW cannot be just like that designed. So each and every part, detailed design should be required. So this is what we call as the component design. So how the cross section of each pillar and each structural member of the AW should look like. What are all the controlling parameters? For example, these parts are basically designed using the force displacement requirement. And how the door hinge is being designed and how the hub of the tire is being designed. So like this, each and every part of the system itself should be designed in detail. And then it comes for the validation step. So once the design is made, it comes for the validation. This validation can be done either virtually by using CAE, the FEA is a finite element analysis methods, or by the physical validation. Of course, physical validations are much costlier compared to the digital validation. So digital validations are usually done in the beginning stages of the design and development stage, and the final validation will be obviously done by the physical step. So this is an overview of the design and validation step. First, we saw the concept stage. Next, we saw the design and validation stage. So this design and validation stage overview is like this. You first set the target for the whole vehicle and for the component level and system level. Then you design the preliminary prototype of the vehicle at first. You don't have to build the actual product you are imagining. You can build a similar product with the existing material available and then test with the preliminary prototype. You will get some idea how it behaves, how the requirements are met. Then you go for the component design, then you go for the system design, finally integrate the product. Parallelly, you test each system and components and finally go for the production. So this is just an overview of what we just saw in detail in the previous pages. And finally comes to the production stage. We started from concept stage, proceeded for the design and development stage, finally into the production stage. Production stage, of course, controlled by the cost, time, and feasibility have to be confirmed, because every design, every imagination cannot be made into a product. There are some many limitations which have to be considered before designing and producing a product. So based on this cost, time, feasibility study, the manufacturing process of each part will be decided and the production simulations will be made. Similar to the testing which we saw in the previous page, production simulations are also now being conducted. Of course, both physically and in using the FEA. And then the actual tools for the producing the part is being developed. So this is the production stage, after which the vehicle will be rolled out for sales. But one thing which we need to consider is when the production stage starts from the feasibility study, the development cost will be basically low. So any design change, for example, you made a design proposal, after sometimes you want to change the design proposal because it doesn't meet the, let's say, the component level requirement. So this have to be informed at this time itself to maintain the planned cost of the development. If you delay, for example, you design a part here and you find out it doesn't meet the requirement and you want to change the design at this step, the development cost increases from here to here. So this is basically the unwanted cost you are going to spend because you do not highlight this design change requirement at the beginning of the development or production stage. So similarly, your design change at each timing will directly impact your development cost. So one thing we should keep in mind, whatever you propose, you plan it well and propose it at the beginning itself. Any late changes will cost you a lot of money during the development process. Finally, coming to the challenges of the automobile development, one by one we can see many challenges, but they can be grouped into somewhere like 6 items. So one is the market dynamics. Market dynamics means the customer's mindset is changing rapidly day by day. 2 years ago, a different type of headlamp was liked by customers, but now you see the Hyundai Creta and Hyundai Venue, etc. The headlamp design itself, the design concept itself is completely different, but still people are liking it. So the product which were planned with the 2 years previous headlamp shape, if it has been planned for 10 years, you cannot sell that product for the next 8 years because the customer's requirement has changed now. So this rapidly changing customer needs have to be considered while making the development and planning for the product development. Second is trade-off. Of course, trade-off is a very difficult thing to manage because I will say, being a crash engineer, I will say the product should crash. But being a durability engineer, someone will say, no, the product should not crash because the strength will reduce. Technically speaking, this is where the trade-off happens. To a broad extent, you can say from the marketing point of view, someone will say, this one, I need some specific feature in this car, but the finance team will say, no, we don't have budget for that. So there should be some compromise between these two. So this kind of trade-off issues happen everywhere throughout the automotive development phase. And third is the cost control. As I said in the previous page, any design change you make it late will lead to unplanned cost. And more than that, any misplan you make will also lead to additional cost during the development. So planning should be perfect when you do a product development in automotive specifically. Fourth is the new regulations. As you can see, some markets, some countries are imposing new regulations year on year. So if you are designing a product for some safety regulation this year, it will not be applicable for the next 10 years. Maybe in the next 3 or 4 years, there may be some new regulation. There will be some update in the regulation. The best example is BS6. So vehicles which were designed for BS4 3 years ago cannot sell now. So we should have that forecast of what will be the future of the market regulations. And fifth is legal movements. Legal movements are basically the laws and regulations proposed by each country. One good example is recently the United Kingdom President or Prime Minister, I don't know, he announced that from 2030, only electric vehicles will be sold in UK. There will be no petrol or diesel variants. So this is one kind of law which is proposed by the market. But if you see, most of the automobile manufacturers, big sales market is Europe. But now, because of this announcement, their profitability will fall drastically. So this kind of planning also should be considered. And finally, the diversity. So one product doesn't suit all. You cannot produce just one model of car in your company and sell for all the markets. No, you have to have some 10 different varieties of cars you want to sell. And of course, if you increase the number of varieties, the complexity of development also increases. So everything should be considered in mind when you do the product development in automotive mainly. So here